Hey, all, let's just do this. And just for the record, it's no fun being up here every day, especially weeks like this. There's nothing but doom and gloom everywhere we look. And I had a bad feeling a couple of days ago. And yeah, it's come through. But what can we see? Are there any silver linings at all? That's what we'll try to get into today. Thank you all for coming, my friends. And yeah, this is it's no fun. And everybody's losing money. That's for sure. This is called the bull run scam. Is it a scam? What the hell just happened? The third year of the bull run is supposed to be incredible, and we got nothing. Nothing. We're going to look at all the data. I just want to say a big thank you as well for the people that are here today with me. K8, Dr. Pepper, Sir Winston, Crypto Katana, Renato. Who are you? Buckhorn. You're all legends, and obviously this is not your first rodeo, so you're able to deal with it. A lot of people can't. And what I'm kind of mad about is you get these false dreams, given by people like, heaven forbid, Tom Lee said 2 weeks ago, Bitcoin will be at 250K by year end. And people pin their expectations to these dreams. And then these dreams don't happen. And then there's nothing but complete depression and anger and, anyway, let's get into the story, my friends. And let's see what we can find in the data. And Half Viking as well. All these lovely people. Hang in there, my friends. Let's see if there's any silver lining. Disclaimer, not financial advice, and a big thank you to Lily Min, Irish lady, following you for a long time. Love listening to you and a Patreon member. Yes, thank you, Lily, for being here. And sorry about the market conditions, but it's not all red. There are, towards the very end of the story, I got some really good news too. Let's look at sentiment and signals. And yeah, they suck. We are now extreme fear and greed for crypto, 24 for stocks, which is the same as it was a week and 2 weeks ago. That hasn't really changed. Stocks are not in a different league to crypto. Crypto's taken it in the shorts very, very hard. But I do want to talk about this from Bitwise. This is every time you get 5 extreme fear readings in a row, it's very interesting what happens next. So let's dig into this. And you can see here, you got the number of readings and the crypto fear and greed index. When it's below 20, that's extreme fear. And then what happens a day later, 2 days later, 5 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, etc., 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. The good news is the average Bitcoin performance when crypto fear and greed is below 20, typically the price goes up within 1 day, 0.9%, 2 days, 2%, 5 days, 4%, 1 week, 5%. 2 weeks, 9%, 1 month, 20%, 2 months, 44%, 3 months, 62%, and 6 months, 48.5%. These have consistently signaled above average forward returns if history repeats. So, that's why even Warren Buffett say, when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own, buy. So we'll see if that works. Again, I'm just sharing data. Don't shoot the messenger, but it is interesting. Let's get into Bitcoin and crypto, find out where we are. Red November, pretty nasty, down 12.7%. And that's on top of down the big dip in October too. And in perspective, it's disappointing because we did hit that 125K all-time high back in October. And since then, it was like a flash in the pan. And that is a little bit reminiscent of what we went through in 2021. We had the April top, and then we had the, I think it was October, November top as well. And that was it. A little higher than the previous all-time high. Maybe it was manufactured. I'm not sure. Now, we did get below 100K. I've been talking for weeks about that line in the sand. It's very, very important to maintain 100K. Well, it broke. And now we're down at 95K as I speak to you here now. 94.7. It's fluctuating. We went as far as 94 earlier, rebounded $1,000. And that was ugly. And we are at the lowest point we've been in 6 months. Now, this is the bull run that never was. And that's kind of why I titled this story. And a big shout out to Texas Rider as well. This is his bull run power law chart. Once you get above the power law score of 1, the cloud goes red. And we basically scratched red on a few very little instances. It didn't happen. So what does this mean? We didn't have a bull run. Nothing like what happened in history, not even remotely close. it was a slow grind. It kind of came and fizzled out. In fact, if you had sold the top that happened right after the US presidential election and got out of crypto and pivoted to AI, that was the thing to do. That was the thing to do. But it's always very easy in hindsight. But basically, the whole year has been lost and people are angry. And I know because I hear it, I sense it, I feel it. And I feel your pain. It makes me sad that people are angry. But this is the bull run that never happened. There was no bull run. And that pisses people off. Excuse my French. However, from Joe, Bitcoin is still the most oversold since April. Remember April? Little reminder, my friends. In April, we fell to $75,000. We're now 20,000 higher than April, just for perspective. And that's the crazy roller coaster we're on. But again, it's good to zoom out and have that perspective. But if you look here at the historic RSI levels, we are back in the April 2025 low area. We're also back in the mid 2024 low area. We're in the early quarter Q1 2023 level. And of course, bear market, we get oversold RSI goes green, which is bad. That should be red instead of green. But the point is, it's rare we're this level, unless it's a bear market. If it's a bear market, RSI can go lower and it can stay lower for 4 or 5 months. That's the important thing. The question is there enough to keep us afloat? Now, so far, Bitcoin is up 4% over the last 365 days. And year to date, it's exactly flat. Again, we've gone nowhere for a year. And that, again, as I started at the beginning, people had hopes and dreams of $250,000 Bitcoin, even as recently as 2 weeks told to us by experts. My target in 2023 for this year was 119K. We got that. But it's very, very important to set realistic expectations and not pin your hopes and dreams to something that may never happen. And that is where we are today. That's why so many people are upset. So we've gone nowhere for a year. And why? Well, whales have dumped over 815,000 Bitcoin in a very short window of time. That is the past 30 days. That's nearly 1 million Bitcoin. And this is the problem. The long-term holders are taking lifestyle chips off the table. They waited for the 1 year, the typical 4-year cycle to complete. And they said, yeah, we're not going any higher. I'm going to bag my huge gains. Some people have a cost base of $10. Some people haven't moved wallets in 15 years. And they're getting out. And maybe they're buying their yacht or their house or their castle or whatever else. By the way, castles are very cheap in France nowadays. It's crazy to see what you can buy. But that's a separate issue. We're not going to touch on that today. But the problem is demand is contracting. The treasuries and the ETFs were able to absorb a lot of this dumpage, but not now. It's too much, too fast. 815,000 Bitcoin. A lot of people were very impressed when we got to the 450 or 540,000 mark. I can't remember. People were like, wow, we're still above $100,000 Bitcoin. That's incredible. So the point is it can absorb it, but not nearly 1 million Bitcoin. And remember, there'll never be more than 50 million Bitcoin. So you could argue nearly an 18th was dumped in a very short window of time of just 30 days. That's the problem. The question is, when will they stop, or have they stopped? Because we're at a historical high of dumpage by long-term holders. Very historical. So we'll see if it continues. If it stops and the ETFs continue, we go higher. It's that simple. Now, Michael Saylor was on the TV on CNBC, and Mr. Sorkin asked, what's the score? What's the story? Where are we going next? And he ignored the tweet because that's incendiary. We're not about to go parabolic. But Michael Saylor did say, the OGs sold, and we will build a base from here. A solid base is in, and we will rally from here. That's what Michael Saylor said. And again, Tom Lee, he may have taken his $250,000 off the table from 2 weeks ago, but now he said all the leverage is wiped out from crypto. Bitcoin open interest is at historic lows, and we're going to see a crypto rally at the end of the year. We'll see if he is right. He still expects that Christmas rally. And again, we got exactly 6 weeks left to go. Who knows what could happen? It would be very nice to get above 100K again. And be very nice not to go into a bear market. But even if we do go into a bear market, I still maintain that maybe $70,000 is the bottom. So we're not even that far from the bottom. And the question that I get from many people is, should I sell now? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't buy after like 42,000 or whatever. And you also shouldn't sell when we're so far down, because we could rebound at any time. Maybe in 2026. Now, the other thing that's freaking people out is the death cross. And I hear this every time, I don't know, 11 times in the past decade or so. Oh, the death cross is coming. And yes, it does have an ominous name. That's when the 50-day moving average crosses through the 200-day moving average. And it's scary. But does it really matter at all? Let's have a look at the data. And I used to make videos about this every time one came up. So I know all the data, but basically this is the historic win or loss rate of death crosses within 30 days. Within 30 days, down wins 55% of the time, up 45% of the time. What's most important, though, this is what I need you to focus on, that 90-day period here. Within 90 days of a death cross, Bitcoin is up 2/3 of the time. It's only down 1/3 of the time. 180 days, it's a wash, up, down, flat. 1 year, it's a wash. But that 90-day period is critical, 3 months. I like to swing trade over, 45 days. It's double a 45 days swing trading period. So that's 2/3 up. But basically, if you break all of this down across all this data, across all the history of death crosses, there's 11 of them from 2011 to 2024. The most recent one, there's no outcome yet because we don't have enough time. And again, over whatever time frame you want, it's a 50-50 split. But if you look at the 90 days, odds are in our favor, 64% that will be higher in 90 days. But just forget about it. It's meaningless. That's the basic point of it all. Now, liquidations are now over $1 billion. It's pretty ugly. A lot of money was lost. 550 million on Bitcoin, $250 million on Ethereum, 70 million on Sol. Brutal across the board. And historic drawdowns for some perspective. Once again, from Colin. Cool little chart. And again, basically, we're down 25%. But if you look at history so far since 2023, 23% drawdown, 20% drawdown, 28.4% drawdown, 31.8% drawdown. That was in April 2025. And here we are at wherever we are. A big chunk of change, 24%, 25%, depending on where you measure from. It's normal. It's expected. The question is, what happens from here? Do we continue to go down? Is it a bear market, or will we recover? Now, a lot of the things I just showed you tells you we never had a bull market. So if we never had a bull market, that means we're not going to have a bear market. That's one way to look at it. And again, it could be wrong. The whole asset class could just be dead. And I know some people are packing up their bags. But anyway, and the total crypto market cap lost over $1 trillion just in a little over a month. $1 trillion. So if you're in crypto, everybody lost money. It's that simple. And that's just the nature of the beast. Now, Ethereum and altcoins as well got smashed. Ethereum fell to 3,100. I think the Bitmine price from Tom Lee is about 4,200. And I hope for his sake, Ethereum gets back to 5,000, or else he'll have a lot of very angry shareholders. And I know MicroStrategy has been hammered as well, but MicroStrategy average price for Bitcoin is about 70K. So they are still in the green. Bitmine, not so much, and also getting smashed across the board. We know that. Now, let's look at some money, because the money floats all boats. Bitcoin ETF outflows. There was institutional selling, and this is a weekly chart, and we don't have the data for today in yet, but the weekly outflow was 622 million, which is not catastrophic, because we had, I think, 2.5 billion 1 week back in early 2025 after the presidential election. So historically speaking, it is probably the 9th worst week so far for ETFs. Not completely punishing. Okay, you can see the little red bars down. And ETH down, they had their, 3rd worst week so far. And again, we're not even including the price action from today. But the outflows, 550.67 million, Bitcoin 622. So both running around 600 million out not good. Let's check on Solana ETF. They're positive, not much, but still positive. So the ETH ETF flows are still good. Now, this is one of the problems. If institutional buying stops, treasuries, ETFs, and if the OGs continue to sell, we are going down. That's it. Retail is not in control. That's the whole story here. But let's see what else we have going on in the crypto world. There is a Balancer DEX hack, $100 million was lost. Stream Finance had a collapse, and Hyperliquid lost $5 million in exploit too. DeFi is still very risky, everybody, so be careful out there. This is not helping the altcoin crypto narrative where DeFi is the second or first biggest use case of everything else. So it's kind of ugly. And the prediction markets are booming with Google, both Polymarket and Kalshi. In fact, you could argue that these betting markets are sucking oxygen away from crypto because people are now betting on sports, they're betting on political outcomes, they're betting on the price of Bitcoin before the end of the month. Will it go below 90,000? It's at 70% right now, last time I checked. So everybody's betting on everything, and humans love to be degens. So drop a comment below if you're a degen and you like to gamble, because I guess maybe we all do. It's a rush, but this is really incredible. Prediction markets. Who would have thunk? Anyway, considering human nature, it's not hard to be. Now, I do want to end, not ending the whole show, but end the crypto piece on a little bit of positive news. It's not all doom and gloom. We still have Standard Chartered and Galaxy still saying 120 to 200K by year end. As I said in a video, I think a week or two ago, I would eat a shoe live in a video if we got to 250K by year end. That was after Tom Lee's expression. I still maintain I will now eat a shoe at 200K by year end. How about that? I dropped it 50 grand just for giggles, and I'm a man of my word. So if I say I'll eat a shoe, I'll damn near try it live and probably choke on it on the screen, but it'll be fun either way. Probably won't be as bad as that whiskey I tried once. Ew, terrible. Anyway, ETF flows. There is that perpetual bid coming from the BlackRocks and Fidelities. People are allocating in portfolios, 2%, 4%. Morgan Stanley's coming. A lot of advisors are coming. So that's another tailwind for us. And institutional adoption, the debasement trade from JP Morgan, etc., are beginning to tell their clients they need to focus on this debasement. So again, this is some of the silver lining we still see out there. Now, macro is in the toilet. Fed spooked the market earlier this week saying we may not cut. It's now a 50-50 chance that they will cut in December. And that scared the hell out of stocks, but they're rebounding a little bit right now. And there still is a growing anxiety over the AI bubble. And RIP Michael Burry, he had to shut down his Scion fund. But it was so funny. I remember making a post on this on Patreon. When he went short, he basically turned his whole fund into going short the AI narrative, both Palantir and NVIDIA. Palantir, I kind of understand, but NVIDIA made no sense. Anyway, you don't short the biggest thing to hit the planet, the asteroid, as I call it. And he did, and he lost his fund. So be careful, everybody. Remember, bears win 20% of the time. Bulls win 80% of the time. Let me know where you are. And timing is hard. And sentiment is still at that joint record low from University of Michigan. And that's bad. So there's a lot of bad stuff happening in macro. AI and markets, real quick. AI is mixed. NVIDIA up, Apple up, Microsoft up. Good. Google down, Oracle down, Meta down, Broadcom down, Amazon down, Tesla down. Mixed. But considering stocks are on average kind of flat to up after what happened to crypto, it's actually a good thing. So they could recover more. Remember, Q4, November, is historically the best month for stocks and crypto. Is this time different? Well, it seems like it's been very different across many other perspectives. And I just want to share this little story, which is kind of cool. It happened on a live event today with Ron Barron, who is a legendary investor and heavy into, guess what? Yeah, Tesla and SpaceX and all that good stuff. But they were talking about the abundant future. And this is interesting for us because as a Tesla investor, and I hope many of you are, because everybody said today, Tesla saved my portfolio this year. Yep, and we did the rotation. So imagine a world where everyone has access to the best surgeons from Elon Musk, literally everyone. And Optimus will have the level of precision that is frankly superhuman and will be able to do medical procedures in a very sophisticated manner, even brain surgery. Any medical procedure, things that humans can't even do because they're too difficult or don't even attempt. Sometimes there's a brain surgery required and they actually don't do the surgery because the surgeon doesn't have confidence in their ability. But maybe the robots will. And that could also be life-saving. People also don't talk enough about eliminating poverty and providing great medical care because they never actually have a solution. But now he believes with Optimus they do. Money doesn't solve it because there are only so many, very limited number of great doctors and surgeons. They don't grow on trees. But now they will all get built in factories. This is his Optimus story and super exciting. I personally am very excited. And let's wrap with Happy Friday, my friends. Meme du jour, the 2025 book, Bitcoin Bull versus 27 Bull Market. Actually, we didn't even have one, to be honest. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate everybody for being here. Vincent Jones, French Dreamer, Zeno, Nagesh, Swiper No Swiping, Sylvan, Muster, Bottom Feeder, and Clint C1, Viking, Arrow Ron, and DBF 430. The whole gang, Buckhorn, Renato, Crypto Katana, Sir Winston, the Dr. Pepper, and a big thank you to T&D Tesla too. Sorry about the markets, my friends. It sucks. And thank you, K8 as well. Everything kind of sucks. And Shawnee's here too. But as Sanjay tells me every day, this too shall pass. And I know the pain people are feeling. And we could go down further. We need catalysts. We need the OGs to stop selling. We need the money to come back in. And the money's there. We need the rate cuts. We need QE. QT's going away, so QE is happening. It's hard to be completely depressed. So fingers crossed. Thanks all for coming. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.